Westfield High sat on the edge of a cornfield in central Indiana, where the sky felt too big and the nights too quiet. The building was a squat brick box from 1968, with asbestos warnings taped over the water fountains and a trophy case that hadn't been dusted since the Reagan administration. Seniors like Noah Ramirez joked that the school was haunted by the ghost of bad decisions, failed finals, broken hearts, the time the marching band set the field on fire during homecoming. Noah, with his faded hoodie and earbuds always dangling, didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in deadlines, college apps, and the fact that his little sister Sophia needed braces he was helping pay for with weekend shifts at the gas station. It started the week before Thanksgiving break. Noah stayed late to finish a physics lab in room 112, the one with the warped windows that rattled whenever a semi roared down Route 31. The rest of the science wing was dark. Even the janitors had clocked out. He was alone, or thought he was, until the PA system crackled to life. Attention. All students, report to the gymnasium. Immediately. The voice was distorted, like someone speaking through a broken walkie-talkie. Noah frowned. The intercom hadn't worked since sophomore year. The district cut the budget for repairs. He saved his lab data, slung his backpack over one shoulder, and stepped into the hall. Silence. Then the lights flickered, once, twice, and went out. Emergency bulbs kicked in, bathing everything in sickly red. His phone buzzed. No signal. Great. He headed for the exit, sneakers squeaking on the freshly waxed floor. That's when he heard it, the faint ding of the old bell above the main office. 1 ring, 2, 3. The bell hadn't rung since they switched to digital tones in 2019. Noah's pulse quickened. He told himself it was a prank, some theater kid with a Bluetooth speaker, but the sound felt wrong, like it was coming from inside the walls. In the main corridor, lockers stood open. Not busted open, neatly ajar as if someone had walked down the row and clicked each one. Inside locker 318, Noah saw a Polaroid taped to the metal. A blurry photo of the gym taken from the bleachers. Scrawled on the white border in red marker 11:59, don't be late. He knew that handwriting. It belonged to Lila Chen, his lab partner who'd vanished last spring. Everyone said she'd run away. Strict parents, pressure to get into Stanford, the usual story. But Noah remembered the last time he saw her. Pale, distracted, muttering about the bell and how it wouldn't stop ringing in her dreams. Noah pocketed the photo and kept moving. The closer he got to the gym, the colder it became, like stepping into a walk-in freezer. Frost bloomed on the inside of the windows. His breath fogged. The double doors to the gymnasium loomed ahead. One of them cracked open just enough to leak a sliver of light. He pushed through. The gym was lit like a stage. Overhead fluorescents buzzed, casting harsh shadows across the polished floor. In the center stood a circle of folding chairs. Exactly 12, each occupied by a student. Noah recognized them instantly. Kids who disappeared from Westfield over the years. There was Tommy Alvarez from 2015, still wearing his Letterman jacket. Maya Patel from 2021, her hair in the same braids from the yearbook. And Lila, front and center, eyes wide and unblinking. They didn't move, didn't breathe, just stared at the basketball hoop where a digital clock glowed red. 11:57. Noah, Lila whispered, though her lips barely moved. You're early. He backed up, shoulder blades hitting the door. It wouldn't budge. This isn't real. You're not real. The clock ticked to 11:58. The other kids turned their heads in perfect sync, necks cracking like dry twigs. Tommy spoke, voice layered with static. The bell rings for the ones who stay too late. For the ones who see. Noah's mind raced. He remembered the rumors. How every disappearance happened after a late-night study session or practice. How the janitors found open lockers, Polaroids, frost on the windows. The school board called it a hoax. The cops called it runaways. But Noah had seen Lila's backpack in the lost and found for months untouched. Connie 9. The lights dimmed to blood red. The bell rang again, louder, closer, vibrating in Noah's teeth. The circle of chairs scraped backward as the kids stood. Lila stepped forward, her shoes leaving wet prints on the floor. Not water, something darker. You can still leave, she said, voice cracking, but you have to choose. One of us has to stay. Noah's hand found the door handle, locked. He scanned the gym, bleachers, scoreboard, the emergency exit by the locker rooms. Barred from the inside with a chain and padlock. The clock hit 12 marks, the bell screamed. The lights exploded in a shower of sparks. Darkness swallowed everything. Noah ran blind, arms outstretched until his fingers brushed the chain on the emergency exit. He yanked. It snapped like it was made of plastic. Cold night air rushed in, carrying the smell of cornstalks and distant wood smoke. He stumbled into the parking lot, gasping. Behind him, the gym doors slammed shut. When he looked back, the windows were dark. No frost, no light, just the faint echo of a bell fading into the wind. The next morning, Westfield High was buzzing. Noah told the principal everything. They found the circle of chairs, the Polaroids, the broken chain. But the kids? Gone. The frost melted. The only evidence was Lila's handwriting on the photo, now smudged like it had been underwater. Noah quit his gas station job. He started a podcast, The Last Bell, interviewing families of the missing, digging through old maintenance logs. He found patterns. Every disappearance followed a budget cut that left the school understaffed after hours. Every victim had stayed late for extra help, and every time the bell rang. Senior year ended with graduation under a humid June sky. Noah walked the stage, diploma in hand, but his eyes kept drifting to the gym. The bell tower had been removed years ago, but sometimes when the wind shifted just right, he swore he heard it. One faint ding, like a warning. He never stayed late again. And he made sure no one else did either. He started a buddy system, a group chat, a rule. If you're the last one in the building, you text the group. Someone always answers, because some bells don't ring for class. They ring for the ones who forget to leave. Lincoln High crouched on the banks of the Red Cedar River in Lansing, Michigan, a concrete slab of a school built in 1974 after the old one burned. The pool in the basement was its pride, Olympic-length chlorine so sharp it stung your eyes from the hallway. Coach Delgado bragged it was the reason they'd won state 3 years running. But to Riley Parker, the pool was just another place to hide from her mom's night shifts and the empty apartment that smelled like microwave popcorn and overdue rent. Riley was 17, all elbows and knees, with a swimmer's shoulders and a chipped front tooth from diving too shallow last season. She captained the girls' team, kept her grades just high enough for a scholarship, and never let anyone see her cry. Not when her dad left, not when the eviction notice came, not even when the whispers started. It was late November, the first real snow dusting the parking lot. Practice ran long, regionals were 2 weeks away, and the other girls had peeled out for Taco Bell. Riley stayed to log extra laps, the water black under the failing lights. The pool room felt bigger when it was empty, the echoes louder. She pushed off the wall for a final 100-meter freestyle, arms slicing clean, when the underwater speakers crackled. They hadn't worked since the 90s. A voice bubbled up, distorted by water and time. "Riley, come down," she surfaced, gasping. The surface was still. No ripples but her own. She blamed the cold, the fatigue, the protein bar she'd eaten 3 hours ago. She climbed out, wrapped a towel around her waist, and padded to the locker room. The motion sensor lights blinked on one by one like they were reluctant. In her locker, number 89, same as her dad's old football jersey, she found a soggy note taped inside the door. Paper so thin it tore when she peeled it off. Ink bled blue. "You left the drain open." "Fix it," Riley frowned. The pool's drain was a steel grate the size of a manhole, bolted shut since a freshman prank in 2018. She'd never touched it. She crumpled the note, tossed it in the trash, and showered fast. The hot water ran out halfway through. The pipes clanked like bones. That night she dreamed of the pool. Not swimming, sinking. The water was warm, thick as syrup, and something brushed her ankle. A hand, pale, pruny. When she kicked, it tightened. She woke gasping, sheets twisted. Her phone read 3:17 a.m., a text from an unknown number, still open. The next day, Coach Delgado pulled her aside. "You look like hell, Parker. Everything good at home?" "Fine," she lied. She didn't mention the note. Didn't mention how the pool lights now flickered in a pattern. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. SOS in Morse, though no one else seemed to notice. After practice, she stayed again. The janitor, Mr. Kowalski, was locking up. "Don't dawdle," he grunted. "River's rising. Basement floods if the sump pump quits." Riley waited until his keys stopped jingling, then slipped back to the pool deck. The air was heavy, humid. The water looked wrong, too dark, like it had swallowed the light. She knelt by the deep end and peered at the drain. The bolts were gone. The grate sat crooked, a black hole yawning. She should have left. Instead, she grabbed a flashlight from the equipment closet and shone it down. The beam caught something pale floating just below the surface, a face. Eyes open, mouth moving, Riley screamed and dropped the light. It sank spinning until the darkness ate it. She ran, but the exit door was chained. The pool gate clanged shut behind her. The lights died. In the pitch black, the water began to rise. Not overflow. Rise like the pool was a glass filling from the bottom up. Cold. Fast. Up to her ankles, her knees, her waist. She pounded on the gate. "Help, somebody!" The voice came again, closer now from inside the water. "You forgot me." Riley's mind flashed to the stories Coach told to scare freshmen. 1987. A diver named Marisol Vega hit her head on the board during a late-night practice. Coach at the time, Delgado's dad, panicked, hid the body in the filter room, told everyone she'd transferred. The pool was drained, scrubbed, refilled. Case closed. The water reached her chest. Riley clawed at the gate, nails splintering. "I didn't forget." "I didn't even know." A hand broke the surface, not grabbing, offering. Marisol's. Skin translucent, veins blue. "Then remember." Riley hesitated. The water was at her neck. She took the hand. The world inverted. She was underwater, but breathing. The pool was empty. No water, just concrete and echoes. Marisol stood beside her, dry in an old Lincoln swimsuit with the faded mascot. "They sealed me in the walls," she said. "But water finds a way." Riley looked up. The surface above was the ceiling now, rippling like a mirror. Through it, she saw herself, drowning, thrashing. Present-day Riley. "You have to choose," Marisol said. "One of us walks out. One stays." Riley thought of her mom asleep on the couch with the TV flickering. Sophia's braces. The scholarship letter she hadn't opened yet. "I can't." "You already did." Marisol pointed to the drain. The grate was back in place, bolts shiny and new. "You fixed it." The water began to lower. Riley felt herself rising, pulled up through the surface, gasping onto the deck. The lights buzzed on. The gate hung open. Mr. Kowalski stood there, eyes wide. "Jesus, kid, I heard screaming." Riley looked back. The pool was normal. Chlorine sharp. Water still. But in the reflection of the diving board, she saw Marisol wave once, then sink. They found the body 2 days later when the sump pump failed and the basement flooded. Marisol Vega, perfectly preserved, wedged in the old filter pipes. The medical examiner said it was impossible. She should have decomposed decades ago. Coach Delgado resigned that afternoon. The pool was closed for good. Riley still swims, but only in the river now, where the current is honest. She keeps the soggy note in her wallet, a reminder. Some debts aren't paid in money or time. They're paid in memory, and some pools never really drain. It was the fall of senior year at Jefferson High in suburban Ohio. The kind of place where Friday night football games were about religion and everyone knew everyone's secrets, or thought they did. Emily Carter had just turned 18, with her frizzy brown hair always tied back in a ponytail and a backpack slung over one shoulder, heavy with AP textbooks. She wasn't the popular type, not like her best friend Mia, who could light up a room with her laugh and had dated half the soccer team. Emily was the quiet observer, the one who noticed things others missed, like the way the fluorescent lights in the East Wing hallway flickered just a little too often. The school was old, built in the 1950s, with creaky wooden floors under layers of linoleum and lockers that still had dents from decades of slammed doors. Rumors floated around about its history, a fire in the 70s that killed a janitor, or whispers of a student who vanished in the 90s. But kids like Emily dismissed them as urban legends, fodder for late-night Snapchat stories. That changed on a rainy October afternoon. Emily was staying late for debate club practice. The building felt emptier than usual, the echo of her sneakers on the tile the only sound besides the distant hum of the vending machine. Mia had texted her earlier. "Gotta bail, hot date with Jake, don't get murdered, LOL." Emily rolled her eyes and replied with a ghost emoji. She grabbed her stuff from locker 237, the one with the sticky door that always jammed. As she yanked it open, a chill ran down her spine, not from the drafty hall but from something else. A faint whisper, like static from an old radio but with words she couldn't quite make out. She shook it off. "You're imagining things, Em," she muttered, slamming the locker shut. But as she walked toward the exit, she heard it again, louder this time, coming from behind her. "Help me." It was a girl's voice, soft and pleading like it was muffled through a wall. Emily spun around, heart pounding. The hallway was empty, shadows stretching long from the setting sun filtering through grimy windows. That night, at home in her cluttered bedroom with posters of indie bands on the walls, Emily couldn't sleep. She scrolled through TikTok trying to distract herself, but her mind kept replaying the whisper. By morning, she convinced herself it was the wind or a prank from one of the freshmen. School dragged on, algebra quizzes, cafeteria pizza that tasted like cardboard, and dodging the mean girls in gym class. But during lunch, Mia noticed Emily's distraction. "You look like crap. What's up?" Emily hesitated, then spilled it. "I heard something weird in the East Wing yesterday. Like a voice." Mia's eyes widened, her fork pausing midair. "Oh my God, you mean like the ghost girl?" Everyone knows that story. Supposedly, back in '92, this girl named Sarah Jenkins disappeared after school. They found her backpack and the boy couldn't let it go. She returned to the school alone. Debate club was canceled, but she lied to her mom about extra study time. The halls were dim, lit only by emergency lights. At locker 237, she pressed her ear against the cold metal. Nothing. Feeling foolish, she turned to leave when the whisper came again. "He's coming. Run." Adrenaline surged. Emily bolted down the hall, her phone flashlight bouncing wildly. She heard footsteps behind her, heavy, deliberate, not her own echo. Glancing back, she saw a shadow detach from the wall, tall and looming. Panic blinded her. She ducked into the girls' bathroom, locking herself in a stall. Her breath came in ragged gasps. Minutes passed. When she peeked out, the hall was silent. At home, Emily researched more on her laptop, huddled under her blanket. Old forum posts from alumni mentioned similar experiences. Whispers, shadows, always in the East Wing. One post from 2015. "I swear I saw a girl in the mirror mouthing, 'Help me.' Never went back." Emily texted Mia. "This is real. Meet me tomorrow?" The next day was Halloween, the school buzzing with costumes and candy. Emily and Mia skipped the last period, sneaking into the boiler room basement. It was off limits, accessed through a rusty door behind the gym. The air was thick with dust and the metallic tang of old pipes. Flashlights cut through the gloom, revealing stacks of forgotten boxes in a grimy furnace. "Look," Mia said, pointing to a faded backpack slumped in the corner, covered in cobwebs. It matched the description from the article, blue with a keychain of a heart. Emily's hands trembled as she unzipped it. Inside a crumpled notebook, pages filled with Sarah's handwriting. Mark is scaring me. He won't let me break up. Says he'll make sure no one finds me. The last entry. He's waiting after school. God help me. A low groan echoed from the pipes, or was it the building settling? Then the whispers started, surrounding them. He's here. Always here, and the girls froze. From the shadows emerged a figure, tall in a hooded jacket, face obscured. You shouldn't be down here, a gravelly voice said. It was Mr. Harlan, the janitor, keys jingling on his belt. But his eyes, cold, knowing, sent chills through Emily. Mr. Harlan? Mia stammered. We were just... He stepped closer, a twisted smile forming. Sarah was nosy too. Always poking around, Emily's mind raced. Harlan had worked at the school since the 80s. Could he be Mark? No, Mark would be in his 50s now, but the janitor was older. Or was he? She remembered a detail from the article, Mark Harlan, star quarterback. The realization hit like ice water. You're him, Emily whispered. You killed her. Harlan lunged, but Mia screamed, swinging her flashlight. It connected with his head with a sickening thud. He staggered, and the girls ran, bursting out into the hall yelling for help. Teachers came running. The police were called. In the chaos, Emily learned the truth. Harlan confessed that night. Sarah had threatened to expose his steroid use, ruining his college scholarship. He'd lured her to the boiler room, strangled her, and buried her under the concrete floor. For years he'd stayed on as janitor, guarding his secret, silencing whispers with maintenance excuses. But the whispers? Harlan swore he heard them too, driving him mad. She's still down there, he muttered in custody. Jefferson High closed for a week while they excavated. They found Sarah's remains, giving her peace at last. Emily and Mia became local heroes, but the experience changed them. Emily couldn't walk those halls without feeling a chill, a reminder that monsters weren't always ghosts. They were human, hiding in plain sight. Senior year ended with prom under twinkling lights, but Emily skipped it, opting for a quiet night with Mia. Sharing stories of what could have been, the whispers stopped, but the human touch of loss lingered, a scar on their young hearts.